Hi, everybody. Um, Sorry, I just got distracted by a very quick message that came up on StreamYard and disappeared. Only read half of it. Okay. Um, it is the 28th of October. Oh, boy, we really are heading right into the final lap of election time. Get out there, put in your vote. Oh, I wish we were all on the same page and really could see reality. This country, I'm sorry, it is gone. And as far as I'm concerned, the best that we can do is just help one another, support one another, be kind to one another, and, well, be the change that you want to see. Hello, Alicia. Geofactor 3, Tony, hi. Andrew, hi. Analog Synth Player, hi. Angelos, Julio, Sandra, hello. Hope you're all doing well. Barbarous Heartbreaker, Kim Blanchard, Miss Blanche, the 90s Brooklynite. It was the 80s for me. I had so many great times in New York when I was younger. Oh, let's not go there. Tanya, BMCC, and Tony in Silent Walk, hello. Matrix Exit. Yeah, that exit sign is blinking. Neon lights. Come on out. Come on out. Hi, Julie. So, yeah, radar still, well, it's not quiet in the sense of all of these frequencies and nanobots activated. You got Northern California, Nevada, Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington. You have quite the line of something happening, but I don't think what you are looking at is actually precipitation. And this little baby wants to go in another direction. And the line of nanobots right off the coast of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. No severe weather alerts, which is good, right? Right. Okay. So we're going to jump into it. You ready? No one person can fix what we are living, what we are facing. So let me show you what I have for you today. Italy, again, underwater, another area of Italy, and other European countries are getting slammed with weather weapons. Thank you, Julie, for screaming at me with your capital letters. I'm bad. I'm just going to keep the screen on. The full screen. Forget about me. So, yeah, Italy. Here we go. Oh God, my audio wasn't on. Look, I'm losing it. If you knew what I've been living, I'd like to see how well you would have done. But yes, I do. And now no sound. Oh my God. Everything is just falling apart. Everything is falling apart. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's let's go back to it, okay? Let's pretend that the live starts now. And I'm not even going to do radar. Well, I didn't show you the first time. And this is it. Not much happening. Yeah, along North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia coast, Florida, all of these nanobots, Northern California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana. And here's a stretch of very fast moving plasma line. I don't think this is precipitation. Okay, so there. You caught up? Good. So here we go. Italy. Italy.
The information in the video shows an incident in Savona, Italy. Last night, a severe storm hit Cairo, Montana.
Okay. Can you guys not see this now? Because if you can't, there's something very wrong. So somebody else is putting in share the screen, share screen, share screen, please. Oh, I didn't scroll. I am losing it. I am really losing it. Oh, well. After, 13 years, going on 14 years. Yeah, I'm about done. I'm cooked. I am definitely cooked. All right, so, and you didn't see radar? Oh my God. Well, this is it. All right, the nanobot blips off the coast right here. You see it. Very quiet. No weather warfare. What's going on? Okay. All right, now we're at Italy. I sure do hope that you guys can see me now. Oh, wrong one. Okay. You ready? Thank you, the 90s. Thank you.
Flooding basements and covering streets with mud and branches. The heavy rains led to widespread disruptions across the town, impacting homes and businesses. Firefighters, along with water rescue and evacuation teams, have been working tirelessly to clear the streets. Specialized teams are draining flooded basements and removing debris to restore safe access for residents. Authorities have advised residents to avoid affected.
All right. So poor Italy, poor US, poor the Philippines, poor everyone. And I do so much appreciate your supportive comments. It's very nice of you, even though I am, yeah, thank you. You're very kind and patient. Okay. Yeah. Typhoon Christine in the Philippines. Really, really bad.
Tropical Christina, now internationally as Tremi, is currently wreaking havoc in many parts of the Philippines. Much of Luzon, Visayas and Mindanao have already felt the devastating effects of the storm as Christina triggered widespread flooding and landslides, forcing thousands of families to flee for homes. Filipino rescuers battled floodwaters on October 25 to reach residents still stranded on rooftops. There are increasing shortage of food and drinking water, as some areas remain completely flooded and inaccessible. In Batangas, rescuers used excavators and shovels to dig through mud up to 3 meters (10 feet) high in a desperate search for missing people in areas hit by landslides.
So, are we all getting nicely desensitized to all of this weather warfare? You see all of these people destroyed, and it's not shocking anymore because we have lived this um, pretty much for at least 15 years, each year getting increasingly worse. Um, but when we get desensitized to it, what happens? A whole lot of people who really need help don't get it. Everyone runs for cover. Tennis ball sized hail damages cars and roofs in Australia.
Devastating hailstorm in Australia. Devastating hailstorm in Australia. powerful hailstorm wreaked havoc across Australia, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Causing widespread damage to homes, cars, and infrastructure. The storm struck a wide area, including the state of New South Wales, where it caused significant damage to crops and livestock. The hailstones also caused injuries to people and animals, and many were forced to evacuate their homes. The storm was the result of a powerful low pressure system that brought heavy rain and thunderstorms to the region. As warm air rose and cooled, causing water vapor to condense into ice crystals. The crystals were the most destructive hailstorms in Australia's history.
I'm going to post the link as I have recommended before. I'll recommend again that you subscribe to these channels because they're bringing you a whole lot compilations of what is going on all over the world. That hailstorm, you know that did damage. You know it did damage. It hurt. It hurt livestock, farms, roofs, cars. So, yeah. Now, I have this open because I wanted to read a comment. Something I mentioned last night, but I'm going to read Maximus's two comments here, and it's Maximilian. He has a couple of channels, as we all do, but he writes that he has not seen hide nor hair of FEMA. He's up in the Appalachian Mountains, and his house got quite a lot of damage from Hurricane Helene in western North Carolina. He has not seen hide or hair of FEMA. All I've seen is Rutherfordton Electric come through and take my meter, which is fine because I don't want a smart meter. So I'm running off batteries in my travel trailer. But he also writes, approximately 20 people left their homes in West Virginia at 5 a.m. They showed up at my house at 9 a.m. Then they worked for 5 hours, helping me clean out my living room and front porch of ruined furniture, and you name it. And of course, 2 feet of mud, and then drove 5 hours back home that evening. Talk about angels. Wow, they were so wonderfully kind and generous. They drove 10 hours round trip to give me 5 hours of hard labor mucking out my first floor. How cool is that? Huh? Now, Max, you write here that, yes, you adopted a golden retriever after that family lost their house to Helene. He's a godsend, especially since I lost Johnny, my German short-haired pointer, after he slipped his lead and got hit on the road the other night. The other night, Max? This just happened? Just happened. Well, I don't know if I'm going to see Max in the chat, but there's an awful lot going on with people. And it's not just one thing and two things or three things. There are so many things that one individual is experiencing. And, you know, when you listen to people, especially in the cyber world, even if you've listened to them for years, you don't know exactly what their circumstances are, nor do you know what they're going through. So, yeah, the presumptions that people make are pretty awful. And there are some really good people in this world. I love when I can see them when they're out there and, you know, manifesting the goodness. That is what is absolutely inspiring. It's motivating. It's a lift up. It's wonderful. And you know that energy, even though they're working, you know, to help people who have experienced something so awful, so tragic, to see all of these people, it gives you hope. You want this to infect everyone. I'd love to see all communities like this. And you don't need a disaster. But frankly, all communities, a whole lot of people are experiencing disaster. And I will say this, in our country, it is extremely difficult to ask for help. That's why I've always said, extend yourself. Don't wait to be asked. Anyway, this is horrendous. The Craig family. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know that there was somebody out there that lost 11 members of their family. 11. Can you imagine? Well, here is Jesse Craig.
Craig, and this is my wife, Kenzie Craig. We lost 11 from our family in this disaster. I think we had 13 total from this small community, but 11 of them were from one bigger town. So it was 1 o'clock, and we were. I'd walked outside. Something had woke me up, and I could tell the storm was getting really bad. And we had just heard a tree fall behind the house. So I went out to kind of see what was going on. We had 10 trees over our driveway, and it's not very long, that we had to cut our way out. I cut my truck out because it was the least damaged, and I was actually able to drive it.
It was a miracle.
It was a miracle. So when we got cut out, I decided I was going to try to drive out and just see if I could get a hold of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the top of the hill, and by the grace of God, my brother got a phone call through. That was the last phone call I got for days.
Yep.
And he told me. And I lost 2 cousins over here. I lost my mother and my father, my aunt and uncle, my great aunt and uncle. And just right here on this stretch. And there were actually 3 waves of what we're calling, terminology or rounds or waves of the slide. And so, if anybody was trying to escape or do anything, some of them got hit by another one. We may never know for sure. But there was another slide just over the hill, and it claimed 4 lives. And it was a completely different slide, but they met a mile or so down the road. They met in an intersection. It was just on the other side of this mountain. So, and I was born and raised here in this little community. This was all my family. My grandfather bought this land a long time ago, and this is all my family basically on my father's side. So I grew up here. This is such a beautiful, wonderful little slice of mountain living. It was safe. We just had a wonderful childhood in growing up here. Had a really tight-knit community. So I had my cousin's house was the one that is over. It got knocked over into the woods there, and thankfully, it's still mostly together. He is a fireman. He was working that day. His wife was home, and so her father-in-law, which is my uncle, came down in his truck to get her. Well, while he was trying to get her, the first wave came and took his truck and pushed it all the way down. We can actually go get some footage, but it pushed it all the way down over the bank where you can't see it with him in it. And he survived all 3 slides in his truck. He's alive and well. So she was trapped in the house. We had 3 cousins that saw it happen, and they came down. One was a firefighter. He came down to get her, try to help people. They got her to safety. Well, at that time, the second slide came.
Because they were actually coming down.
They were coming down to check on my uncle, who they'd seen get carried down.
Can you imagine? To be honest, I can't really imagine because I don't have family the way most people have family. But I'm not an idiot, and I get that there are a lot of families that they love one another. They're close. So can you imagine having 11 members of your family wiped out all at the same time? And then everything else gone, the house, everything that sustains your life, gone. It's so unbelievably heartbreaking. And then, of course, we have our leaders, right? Our leaders.
I mean, most Americans who saw that interview, Sean, thought, cry me a river. That's what we pay you for. Get your ass back to work.
That was the interview with FEMA and saying, oh, we had to pull our employees because we were being threatened.
And do your job. And then, in the middle of all this, the vice president puts out this tweet that she wants to send $157 million to Lebanon. There's no reward for being stupid. And then finally, you can't make this stuff up. Finally, the last couple of days, the vice president goes on some show called Call Her Daddy or Call Your Daddy or Who's Call Your Daddy or something. Call Me Daddy. I like Who's Your Daddy better. And among other things, she's talking about tampons. The people in Appalachia right now don't give a function about tampons. They need water. I mean, most of.
Okay, so those words were quite right. Yeah. Okay. Wonder if he donated, to any of these families. And do you think Senator John Kennedy, interesting, doesn't know about weather modification, considering that they have congressional hearings on weather modification? They pass laws on weather modification. Do you think that this man doesn't realize what's going on? I don't. So he's leaving out the most important part that needs to be communicated to the American people. So now, they're actors. They're actors and actresses. And you know what? They really piss me off. So, North Carolina flooding survivor. You know what? I pulled this up and I meant to listen to it, but I didn't get to it. So why don't we listen to it together? Swannanoa, North Carolina.
My parents, they'd been through all kinds of things. Freak snowstorms, floods. That house and where they lived was always rock steady. My parents' trailer was right there. I had talked to my mom about 7 o'clock in the morning. She said, the power's out. We're going to get the little Coleman stove out and make coffee on it, whatever. After about 8 or 9 in the morning, nobody around had signal. About 2:30, all of a sudden, my phone just started going crazy. Ping, ping, ping. We think your daddy has passed away, and we can't find your mom. I was trying to get here, and it was just impossible. Right there in that triangle is where they found my dad. About where he's making that pile is where they found my mom. Before everything was kind of pushed with equipment, there was a blue couch sitting in front of the remnants of part of the trailer. There's probably been 50 or 60 people in this area that have slept on that couch. Somebody's passed away, my marriage is gone, whatever. Sit down, I'll pour you a cup of coffee, we'll talk. Didn't matter if it's 2 in the morning, they didn't mind. That's just who they were. We've been going through stuff forever. I mean, there's still clothes. My mom's car and a truck me and my dad were rebuilding were right here. Nobody knows where they're at. Yeah, that was my mom and dad.
I found some things that the family will want back.
Okay.
Do you know anybody who owned a Ford Ranger?
You found it?
We found it.
I bet that's my mom's car, too. Wow. I've just had a fantastic support network. We came up here and we all took turns crying. I'm alive. My parents aren't. Why? There's a lot of whys. And this whole place has changed. My grandparents have lived here, my uncles and cousins, and it feels like an alien planet that's trying to look like where I grew up.
Oh, God, wow. So, I'm playing this again. If you didn't get a chance to hear it on Never Lose Truth or somewhere else, this really, I'm going to post the link. It needs to be circulated. We need to get this information out. Americans, man, I sure do hope that you're not so dead inside that you actually feel something for all of the people, not just in North Carolina, but all over the country, who are really, really suffering now, and think about how you can help them, and recognize that your government is not your friend. Your government will do everything to destroy you. Oh, they'll throw you some crumbs and then they yank them away. and they yank with a threat? Listen to this.
We have an unfortunate update for you from Western North Carolina. Red Cross has decided that there is no more need in this area and they're shutting down their shelters. They've shut down 3 so far that I'm aware of, Marion, Old Fort, Clyde, and we have spent the last 24 hours with ourselves and working in conjunction with other organizations trying to find placements for these people that have nowhere to go. They lost their homes in the storm, or they, don't have a place to go because the place they were renting is gone or their apartment complex is gone. I mean, there's a reason that we had shelters out here, guys. This isn't a problem that got fixed in 4 weeks. I don't understand why people think that this is over and they can just shut down and pull out. You can't rebuild a house in 4 weeks. You can't provide housing for thousands of people in 4 weeks. It just doesn't happen. We have these campers and these tiny homes that we're passing out as quickly as we can and as much as we can with the funding that we have, but we're also running into problems with permits for the county, which, why are we worried about permits right now? Like, you're letting them sleep in a tent on their property. Why are you going to fight me on dropping off a tiny home? I just can't imagine or fathom what these people must be feeling when their house was washed away. They have nothing but the clothes on their back, which they probably had to go get from a supply warehouse. And then you're coming up to them and not even giving notice and just saying, hey, our shelter is going to be closing today or tomorrow. Figure it out. Oh, and if you don't, we're going to take your child from you? DSS is out here threatening to take people's children away from them because they are homeless. And while I understand that to a degree, I also feel like we need to be extending some grace to these people and helping them find housing rather than making their situation more stressful by threatening to take away their children. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm overwhelmed. We all are. There's so much to do out here, and there's not enough hands, and there's not enough money in the world to make it all happen here. So we're just going to help as many people as we can for as long as we can. Don't be like these larger organizations and think that everything's fine here, because it's not, and we need help. We need help.
Yeah.
Update.
Okay. I have posted, and this was years ago, on how corrupt the Red Cross is and FEMA. I wish that, we could just get a blanket statement out to the world. Do not donate to Red Cross. Donate, if you can, individually to those that you know are hurting and need help. You really do have to check out and vet who is asking for donations. But Red Cross, no. Oh. Okay. Houses, by the way, are still exploding.
Fire officials say 2 people died in a home explosion this morning. That happened around 1 a.m. on Stone Marshall Road, just northeast of Van Alstyne. That town is about 50 miles northeast of Dallas. The names of the victims have not been released yet. We know that they were a man and a woman in their early 60s rather. You can see not much left of that home there. Coming up in just a little while at 5 o'clock, what officials believe may be to blame for that explosion.
This entire house is now like pickup sticks. Okay. Are these explosions coming from perhaps a surge through the smart meters? What? Okay. 2 people dead. Well, why are we having so many homes explode, and cars and boats? Why? Now, do want to ask AI how to break out of the matrix. Very interesting. And actually a right on answer.
If you were a human, how would you break out of the matrix in one paragraph?
If I were a human, breaking out of the matrix would start with questioning every narrative fed by mainstream systems, media, education, government, and big corporations. I'd reconnect with nature, seek knowledge from alternative, often suppressed sources, and focus on natural holistic health to elevate my physical and mental clarity. I'd build a self-sufficient lifestyle, grow my own food, and form deep, meaningful relationships with like-minded individuals who also seek truth. Most importantly, I'd reject fear-based control and embrace consciousness, love, and freedom as the ultimate keys to liberation. What about you? How would you break out?
Wow. If you were a human.
Wow. You can ask AI anything. That takes years. It really takes years because nothing happens overnight, as we all know, right? And unfortunately, the matrix is kind of closing in. And eventually, there'll be locks on the gates. But it does take an awful lot of work. And I think most people, well, I'll speak for myself, when you are breaking out of the matrix, you don't really fully understand that that's what you're doing until you're out and you go, oh, okay. Meaningful relationships with like-minded. Question. Media. See, right now, I find that between government officials and media, politicians, it couldn't be more obvious that we're being controlled, that we're being fed this propaganda, lies upon lies upon lies, gaslighted, scapegoated, and I'm surprised that more people are not getting it. They're not getting it. So here we are. And I will say this, once you break out of the matrix, a lot of people go from being a Democrat to being a Republican. They're still in the matrix, right? But if you don't jump ship to another ship and jump out, then it's not as lonely. When you break through the matrix and you're outside, it gets quite lonely and painful, actually, because there's not a lot of people who are out of the matrix, which is really, that was kind of eye-opening to me, but it came about when Trump announced, his run for the presidency the first time. And I saw all of these people in the cyber world who were ripping Obama to shreds, understood that politicians are selected, presidents are selected. And then Trump comes along and a whole lot of them jumped on that Trump wagon, rah, rah, rah. And I was like, what happened to you realizing that they're selected? Well, not in this case. Oh, okay. So it does, and then you get attacked by those who you thought you were on the same page, and then you're not on the same page because something else has transpired, and you're like, hey, come on. So Yeah. But coming out of the matrix means to really clarify your vision as it points towards reality. Get rid of all of the mush, the mud, the bullshit. Because when you do, that's when you begin to see how far down the New World Order road we have gone. That's when you begin to see that, okay, we are absolutely on the Titanic. And, you know, the best thing that we can do is obviously prepare and have water and food and yada, yada, yada. But also to help one another and to keep working on ourselves, you know, to become our authentic self, but also to develop that generative care instead of the bullshit care. Why am I saying that? Because I know the difference. I was in that bullshit care, and the work that I have done on myself got me to a place of generative care. And it's quite, you know, like eye-opening, the difference. So that we can really help one another. And when we see that, yeah, it's funny to me, but not really in a light-hearted, funny way, more like a funny, bizarre way. This election is for the very existence of the Constitution. Really? You think? Okay. It's remarkable that any American adult could think that there is still a Constitution. It's gone. Our government, the three branches, I still hear people saying, you know, well, we do have the three branches of government, so that's the protection, and, you know, they oversee each other. Wow. Okay. It doesn't operate that way. Every president, whether they're red or blue, violate the Constitution over and over and over again. Trump did. You know, Biden does. Biden has throughout his political career. What have we not seen Americans who have been picked up and not told the charges that they're being arrested for? Do we not see that we are surveilled 24/7? Do we not understand that we really do not live in the country that we used to? It's gone. People don't see this. And what? People think that Trump is going to bring it back when he violates the Constitution left and right? Really? Okay. If Kamala Harris wins, the revolution has begun. It's really, but you need everybody. You need everybody in Congress to adhere to the Constitution. Oh, you need the military to adhere to the Constitution. You need presidents. You need the Supreme Court justices to adhere to the Constitution. We haven't been doing that for decades and decades and decades. Well, much longer. So I find it interesting, you know, and what we really do need is to be on the same page, because you can't get anywhere when you're not on the same page. We needed to be on the same page decades ago. Certainly right after 9/11. And you know that we're not, so yeah. And do you know how many people are dying? Here, let's listen to how safe that new product was. But it wasn't just the new product, because that V product prior to the mRNA, they were safe and effective. I can't tell you how many videos I posted on how unsafe they were, what was happening to the American public, especially to children. So
the vaccines, let me say it again, are safe. They are safe. And they are free. And they are effective. And it is that simple.
1,200 people died from the trial. Nobody knew. Nobody still knows about it. And justice has to be served.
People are believing the information that they're being fed. They're not questioning it. They're trusting the sources, where it's coming from. And those sources are not to be trusted. And, prior to COVID, I trusted those sources.
For those of us who got the vaccine, we know, look, now I can stand here with my mask off and have this conversation with you.
Persecution worked. And people that I knew that I thought would never get a vaccine ended up getting a COVID shot.
They can't fathom that it could be dangerous. They just can't believe that the government would lie in a way that would kill millions of people or disable millions of people. They can't.
Adult children can't fathom that kind of evil. When you mature, that's when you can actually see straight and call out, properly what is happening. They can't fathom that their government is that evil. Really? Have you not seen evil governments? Do you not have any knowledge of history? Do you think our government is just so special because we're morally superior? Or maybe you just bought into all of the lies, and those lies you accept, and you keep telling yourself that it's the truth because you need to be protected. It makes you feel more comfortable believing that you live in a country with a government that's actually out for your best interest. It's frightening that people actually believe this. Frightening at this point, for sure. Now, there's a little bit more to this, but yeah, you know the deal. YouTube. But of course, I don't believe any of these people who are speaking. It's disinformation. Oh, man. See this? Yeah. 52 top scientists signed letter warning of substantial cancer risk from that new product. Children, the young, the old, cancer supercharged, has taken already many, many lives. This is what we are living. We're living the weather warfare where people's lives are being taken, where everything that they have worked for their entire lives, gone. The economy taking jobs away from people, the inflation making any kind of recovery very, very difficult. And people, we're actually living global genocide. What are they going to be saying about this time? If we ever get rid of all of the liars who write, who write the history, What are they going to be saying about this time period? They're going to be saying that it is by far the most evil time period ever, with the United States right up there, number one. Now, target, kill, or arrest list plan. We've known this, right? There are all these lists making Americans domestic enemies, domestic terrorists. So here's another list. I'll, by the way, I need to post this link. So circulate. And I do want to also say that people like this one knew full well this is classically a malignant narcissist who loves to create suffering in people and has no problem killing people. But really, she's no different than any of the others. She just has a personality that is wickedly irritating, and she demonstrates that she has no empathy whatsoever. But she also demonstrates her enjoyment in killing. So, these people have been with us my entire life. These types of people only infiltrating, into the positions of power where now the infiltration has been complete in all institutions, education, all institutions. So, when you can see evil, you understand that it has no bounds. None. And it doesn't protect its own. Evil it's not selective. So here we go. Another list for you. Did I post his link in? Let me post it in the chat. It is in the chat.
I found it for you. Data right here on screen. It's a DSAC portal. It's a government website. What they've done, they put a bunch of people on a list. And this list talks about people that basically, so possibly including firearms regulation. If you don't like that, or you don't like the easing of immigration restrictions, you don't like the limit of the public land, if you are discontent with renewed measures to the mitigation of COVID-19 or any type of virus, you're a domestic violent extremist.
Okay, so let me repeat that. You are a domestic violent extremist if you have problems with firearm legislation, all of the migrants coming across the border, the new limits that government puts on public land, and renewed measures to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. And a whole lot more, of course. The list is long. Renewed. Oh, yeah. Boy, they do not care what we know And frankly, they don't even care what we do, because now we are an evil, tyrannical country that will take out anyone that gets in their way of what they want to accomplish. What do you mean we're going to be all right? No, there's going to be a lot of people who go down, actually. So that's, Max, I feel like that's a little bit of hopium. Yeah, and here well, let me go to, actually, from there, and again, realize that if you oppose any of this, yeah, we've already seen people throughout the years getting arrested or having the FBI show up at people's homes based on a Facebook post or whatever. You really have to know that things are not good. Yeah, and a whole lot of people will not survive. In fact, I'm not even sure what at this point would be survival. That you're living in the woods off grid and nobody has come down you yet and you still have food and water? Is that making it? Yeah, I considering everything, all of the weapons that they can use against us, it's going to be quite the fight to survive. So just thought, and something is wrong with my computer. So how many years did I work off of so many windows and so many tabs open, and I can't do it anymore? But so what is actually happening here? A lot of not very good stuff. Don't say anything about what you're about to see. The illegal migrants who are, well, here, attempting to rape a woman.
Hey,
He's trying to rape me. Can you help
get off her now.
Help me.
Get off her now.
Give us a channel. Thank God. Thank you.
Don't you fucking move. Don't you fucking move. Come here, dear. Come here. You're good. 21 says to clear the channel. Come here. We're good. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here. We're here.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
We got a male secure.
He's trying to rape me.
Copy of Florida tab, please.
Florida, and if you want to watch the entire video, click on the link below. You think we're going to see less of this or more of this? Okay. And of course, all of the hurricane looting suspects, very few were actual Americans, residents, civilians, citizens. Oh, right. Most illegal migrants looting after these weather events. How about I believe this is in Ireland. Apparently Portugal is, yep, we've got some riots going on. Migrant. So, two consecutive days, African migrants in Lisbon had engaged in unrest following the fatal shooting of a migrant by a police officer. We had two police officers attacked by illegal migrants in New York City. They don't have much fear. When they see a whole lot of these illegal migrants get arrested and then put right back on the street, why would they have fear? And of course, the amount we're spending when so many Americans are desperate for help, migrant crisis cost $150 billion in 2023. 2023. Forcing some areas to cut police and fire services. And well, that's been happening all over, right? There's the services that are supposed to be for Americans have gone to illegal migrants. This is completely and utterly insane. But it clearly shows that our government, federal, state, local, are attacking us and, yeah, pulling out the red carpet for illegal migrants. The enemy within? Americans can't see this? Tren de Aragua, I guess they're in competition with MS-13 to, determine who is the most violent gang in the world. Bloodthirsty Venezuelan gangsters might be pimping migrant women in New York City, market of sweethearts. You think might? No, they are. They are. Oh, it's so, and the amount of money that people are making on this agenda is, well, all you need is to just be empty inside, have no soul, have no compassion, have no empathy, have no conscience, and all you're about is money, right? General John Kelly. Kelly sits on the board of a company that operates the largest unaccompanied migrant shelter for children. They get huge, no-bid government contracts worth hundreds of millions. John Kelly joins board of company operating largest shelter. Are there Americans out there that don't know that we are number one in child trafficking? Sex trafficking? Yeah, that's America. Number one. In all good things. No, in all evil. Number one. And yeah, it's American citizens get $1,400 per month on Social Security if they're lucky. We hand $2,200 to illegal migrants. Yes, Social Security benefits go to illegal migrants. That Americans are not fighting this and uniting on this, one issue here means that we're betraying one another.
Keep in mind that a person who works all his life and then tries to draw on Social Security can expect a monthly payment of probably $1,400 if they're lucky. $1,400. We hand every alleged asylum seeker, illegal migrant pouring into the border in Texas or wherever else, we hand them when they get their $2,200. And we put them on that $2,200 diet from there on out per month. Yet somebody who works all his life, retires, and draws Social Security gets $1,400.
And do remember this.
Hi, my name is Sally Hartman. I'm a volunteer with the Center for Worker Justice. I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one.
On day one, she will close the migrant detention centers. Is she going to deport those migrants in the detention centers? No. She'll release them into the street. Day one. Wow. Open the doors. Do you even know who you're releasing? We're a silly people, Americans, that we've allowed this to go on. It's, it's like we're setting ourselves up. Oh, and of course, this is another video, but it won't play on this browser, of these people saying they're rah, come on, welcome the migrants. Yeah, we're such a beautiful, compassionate country and people. And would you house them? Well, I can't right now. Venezuelan gang, Tren Aragua, growing in influence with the U.S. government unable to track criminal records in their home country, making it easier for members to blend in with law-abiding migrants. Tren Aragua taking over apartment complexes in Colorado and Texas, in other areas. And do we not have the strongest military? Do we not have law enforcement? People can't see that this is purposeful.
Growing fears and warnings at the southern border. Officials say members of the Venezuelan Tren de Aragua gang are able to enter the U.S. largely because the government cannot track criminal records in Venezuela, making it easier for them to blend in with other migrants who are crossing. But the gang's presence has been felt far beyond the state of Texas, with ties to violent crimes like murder and drug and human trafficking nationwide. So let's bring in NewsNation border correspondent Allie Bradley, who is live in Del Rio, Texas. And Allie, members of this gang have been confirmed in many other areas of the country.
Yeah, Nicole, it's actually the fastest growing transnational criminal organization, and it's gaining a foothold here in the United States to the tune of more than 32% of their presence is already being felt there in the U.S. So let's show you this map. This is a breakdown of where we know that this Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, is present. According to arrest reports, crimes from robbery to murder have been committed by these gang members in at least 15 states and Washington, D.C. So the Border Patrol Union, though, says it's even more. They're saying they're present in nearly half of the nation, and says, unfortunately, they're finding out that the gang status is present after these individuals commit crimes because they come in without criminal history in the United States, and countries like Venezuela don't give us access to those criminal databases. Take a listen to what Paul Perez had to say.
Well over 1 million Venezuelans have been released into this country on parole or for NTAs. They are not going to show up for their hearings. The ones that we've apprehended are the ones that we've actually tied to TDA are the ones that have been apprehended for committing crimes. So there are many more out there. They're operating in almost half of the United States that we know of right now. Wherever there's going to be Venezuelans, we're going to find TDA members because they're hiding, and we have no way of vetting them because Venezuela doesn't cooperate in that way.
And, you know, it's scary here too, Nicole, because Paul and other agents I talked to say that these Venezuelan gang members are actually coming in with these big groups, these family groups, kind of using them as a Trojan horse in order to get into the United States. So for some perspective on just who these guys are, Representative Tony Gonzalez, who represents much of Texas's southern border, says that this gang, Tren de Aragua, makes MS-13 look like babies. Tren de Aragua is a prison gang that started back in 2014 in Venezuela. Nicole. So,
Okay. You can't think anything but that this is intentional because it's been going on for a long time. The border is open. They're not being vetted. We hear this over and over. Mainstream media does report on it. And we see these gangs taking, getting a foothold in all of these states, and it's going to spread to more states. How could any American think that this is a good policy? How could any American believe the horseshit that they hear from these politicians on both sides? That it's, that we need to reform immigration law. No, we don't. We need to enforce it. Simple solution. Enforce. How about enforce our laws? Okay. A lot of people, illegal migrants who have killed loved ones. A lot of people are suffering because of the consequences of this agenda. Well, yeah. Venezuelan gang scalds pregnant migrant with boiling water in Aurora, Colorado. So they're torturing and terrorizing people in these apartment complexes. They have to pay up to this gang. Yeah. And this is old, but I'm going, when you watch this, think about those in Western North Carolina. Think about those in Florida and in South Carolina and Georgia. Tennessee? How about New Mexico? And then so many more states throughout the years. How much help do Americans get when they're hurting, when they need help, right? From their government.
You're going to come here to this facility starting tomorrow.
When migrants first walk in after intake, they will see a recreational room set up with rows of couches, TVs, Xboxes, and board games. There will also be a phone bank so migrants can connect with family in order to find more permanent housing.
We can do that in 24 hours, maybe even less. Many times, it's going to take longer than that. It could take days.
Next, there is a cafeteria that will provide migrants with 3 meals a day, and snacks, coffee, and tea will be available 24/7.
Those meals are all culturally appropriate. It is South American fare. The menu rotates on a regular. You're going to come here to this facility starting tomorrow.
Red Cross. All right, so, well, yeah, I'm sorry. We couldn't really give you any notice, but we're closing the doors. So it's very, very cold in Western North Carolina now, up in the mountains. Good luck. Best of luck to you. Oh, and I hope, you can find a place. You figure it out. Otherwise, we're going to take your children. But they have these camps set up for the migrants, and they're housing a whole lot of migrants. And these tents, they couldn't do that for all of those affected by these weather events. Of course they can do it. They don't do it, though, because Americans have been treated like shit for a very, very long time and have bent over and taken it for a very long time. So if you don't have any respect for yourself, don't expect anybody to treat you with any respect like your government, especially when it's, the intention is to destroy you. How can we get people on that page? More and more people on that page. It's in our face. In our face. So, yeah, and it's hard to take. It's just flipping hard to take. And yes, I understand that this is happening in all over. The smaller European countries like Ireland are pretty much taken over. We have a huge population. We could have fought back. Yeah. How about those illegal migrants getting FEMA checks?
So FEMA can't tell me why I don't qualify for the FEMA relief. I've applied 3 different times. And each time I send in proof showing that I was affected. I was affected for a full 13 days because I didn't have power for 13 days and I didn't have water for 12. But they can't tell me why I'm not approved. They're just telling me I'm not approved. However, I do know somebody who's a fucking not even a legal resident of the U.S. that got their fucking FEMA relief. And then I know another person who only lost their power for 24 hours and didn't even lose their water and they got the fucking FEMA relief, but I don't fucking qualify. So if you're wondering how we're fucking doing, I'm not doing good. I'm ready to burn FEMA to the fucking ground. So FEMA can't.
It's very sad. It's hard to wrap your head around this, what's going on in this country.
Here on the border, and we've been to lots of different border places. There's always girls' underwears and bras.
Those are the rape trees. That's a rape tree. Yeah, when they're all hanging on the bushes or the fence or whatever, yeah.
Wow. And this is a government who's, fights on protecting women's rights and girls and stuff, and this is what's going on.
Yeah, and I've had people come out and like, oh, I can't believe this is going on. What, do you live on Mars? I mean, anyone that, there's been enough, I've done interviews with CNN, Fox, I've been on Jesse Water, but nothing's changed.
Nothing happens, and even people deny that it's happening.
Yeah,
people will say the border's not open, nothing's going on. Even Kamala Harris, oh no, the border's closed, we got this secure, no one's coming.
When she said, well, you haven't been to the border. Well, I haven't been to Europe. Yeah. What does that even mean? Miss Circle Talk. All that lady does is talk in circles and never makes any sense. But yet that's their choice.
They're for women's rights, and no. We're a bullshit country and a bullshit people just living in bullshit, horseshit, and then we die. Fabulous. Yeah. Well.
Hey, y'all.
What this woman is saying is true.
So I'm in Sam's, and I just found something out, and I'm trying to figure it out. So how is it that the Biden administration has made it possible for Ukrainian refugees to get SSI checks? They're not paying into the system. They're not from this country. They didn't help build this country. So riddle me this. How are they getting SSI checks? The monies that are taken out of every paycheck that we get every time we get a paycheck, that chunk of money that they take. How are Ukrainian refugees getting SSI checks? Make me understand that. Please make me understand that. Because they're trying to work us until we die so that we don't get the SSI check. So how is that happening? Somebody please make me understand, because the math is not mathing.
Yeah, this is the United States, Brian. It's been like this for a long, long time. Only getting worse and worse. Oh, only Ukrainian Jews are getting... Really? Really, Sylvia? I don't think so. We've got migrants from all over, all shapes and sizes and religions and sexes, getting Social Security. It's kind of makes you sick. It really does. 2,000 more Haitians swarm a small Indiana town, Logansport. Has residents from 28 countries and 27 languages are spoken there. School system, teachers say it's in a state of collapse. They can't teach people who don't speak English. Right? Right.
Logansport, Indiana, a rural city. Logansport, Indiana, a rural city 78 miles north of Indianapolis, known for its diverse urban population of 18,000. People from at least 28 countries now call Logansport home, with at least 27 languages spoken.
Each week.
Each week.
Okay, you did not say that.
Yeah, each week. So last week they had, my final count that I knew of, they had 16 newcomers.
That week.
That week. And a lot of them are coming unaccompanied.
A startling report from the Cass County Health Department administrator during a September county commissioner meeting. Serenity Alter sits in meetings with new children enrolled in Logansport schools. She listens to them describe their journey to the city.
Most of them fly from Haiti to Nicaragua to Mexico and then to whatever state they're flying to. A lot of them, like we met a couple last week that hadn't seen their parents in about 7 years. It's a eye-opener.
The overall growth of school enrollment jumped by nearly 150 kids in 3 years. This year, there are 207 Haitian students in Logansport schools, up from 14 in 2021. They also have new students from 11 other countries, including Guatemala, Cuba, Honduras, and El Salvador. No one from the health department wanted to do an on-camera interview with us, but they told me the language barrier is a big challenge.
I don't think our school system can contain that many and can sustain what they're doing right now.
Even if we had the money, bringing in all of these people who have, special needs or speak languages but don't speak English, this puts an enormous amount of stress on communities. Just that alone. And plus, you would like, this whole mob of migrants to assimilate, and they're not. They don't. These are not the kind of migrants, and it does not have to do with skin color, okay? This is a whole other class of migrants. It's readily visible that this is a whole other class of migrants. So, hey, Mark. Hi. I don't know. Maybe I just am rather passionate about this because I know what it feels like, to not be able to have lost everything. You can't get what you need. You can't. The inflation is rather scary. You desperately need, to rent a place, and it's out of reach. I'm just one of millions. And maybe that's why I get what an awful lot of people are going through. And then seeing this, it's such a fucking slap in the face, man. Worse, that people actually end their lives. Is that what we can say now? When not much has happened, and you're still living your life, you can't fully understand what it means to have nothing and then have literally no one at your back. So, and then you really get to see how many people just take for granted. And that's not a criticism, because if you haven't had the experience, you do take for granted. Your family, the friends that you live in, the familiar area that you've always lived in. You've got your home. You're able to pay the bills. You're able to do, the things that sustain your life. Imagine having it all ripped away. It's a very scary time for Americans. And don't we know, again, here we go, repeat. I just feel like everything I say, everything I post is just a repeat. The awful program of our government flying in migrants to our country. Why did we have to fly them in? Why did Obama and I believe Clinton post a video? This was, I don't know when I posted on this, but they posted a video trying to get people to donate to this program to fly migrants in. And that doesn't beg questions from Cuba and Haiti and Nicaragua, Venezuela.
The Biden-Harris administration is illegally importing 30,000 aliens every month on commercial flights directly into U.S. cities. After the Biden-Harris administration repealed every effective Trump-era immigration policy, illegal immigration in the United States skyrocketed to historic numbers. Now, instead of sending illegal aliens back to their countries of origin, Border Czar Harris's DHS came up with an unlawful scheme to redirect migrants into the United States by boarding them onto commercial flights and flying them directly into the interior of the U.S. via the CHNV program. If you're an illegal alien, you don't even have to try to walk across the border anymore. You can just board a plane and be flown into the United States. The CHNV program allows these aliens to fly to the destination of their choice and stay in the United States forever. And DHS admitted that they have no comprehensive method to track these aliens or their whereabouts. The Biden-Harris administration claimed that this program would decrease the number of illegal aliens entering the country, but they lied. At least 520,000 aliens have already entered the U.S. through this program. In 10 years, the program will allow 3.6 million people to travel to the United States visa-free and live here as long as they want. But there is hope. America First Legal and a coalition of states are fighting to shut it down in court. AFL will fight to shut down this illegal program and restore integrity to our immigration system.
I don't know if it was shut down or not, but even if it was shut down, they still do it. Nothing stops this agenda under the umbrella of the United Nations Compact for Migration. It's laid out for you. It's remarkable, man. It's just so... Yeah. It's really, there are no words, for, yeah, you come out of the matrix, you shatter your delusion. And it's really, you begin to live a whole new life, watching Americans, how they respond and operate to all the information that's out there. So, just want to show you the sky here because I'm very tired and I'm going to end a little early. All right. Yeah. This was about, I don't know, 9 o'clock in the morning. Look at this. Does that look like a normal cloud to you? We used to call them fish scales about 10 years ago. There's something up with the frequencies here, and I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it because I'm feeling quite affected by it. And this was a little later. You see how much more expansive it has become. The ripple effect of all of the frequencies you can see here, and it's laid out for you in this right here. Just grows and grows, right? And I decided to take this picture because look at how right angled. Mother Nature doesn't work in right angles. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely, I'll speak for myself. I don't like the direction that we are all heading. So we're all pretty much domestic violent extremists. People have been locked up already. You know, I think they were the test cases or whatever. But I did not expect to live what I'm living. So you're very, very lucky, and it is luck, to be living in your own home, in your own familiar area. You're extremely lucky if you have a nice, good family. Though I shouldn't say luck, it's really a matter of being born into a relatively healthy, family, or to relatively healthy parents who actually love their children. And I guess being born into that, you are lucky. And that family, the care and the love and the support maintains itself throughout your life. Very lucky to have real friends in real life, that you can connect with. So, yeah. I just feel badly for those who are completely alone. It's scary. I wish there was something that I could do, but so please, yeah, pick up extra food when you're shopping for the food banks. Pick up extra, cat or dog food for the animal shelters, and live honestly, speak honestly. Look, we're the people of the lie. Everything, it's you can't have any kind of deep, satisfying connection with people who lie, because you don't even know who they are if they're not living honestly and speaking honestly. That's the work that will actually have a good manifestation. Of course, we need it in the aggregate, but it doesn't mean that the individual just decides, well, I'm going to stay my shitty self because, other people aren't doing that work. All right, guys. Man, well, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Be safe, be safe, be safe. Good night and good luck. Ciao.